This is an oral history interview conducted for the Witness to War Serving a Nation project at Nauset Regional High School on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. For the sake of this interview, please state your full name and community in which you now reside.
My name is David Robert Marriott. I live in Wellfleet, Massachusetts, and my friends call me Rob.
Okay, what war did you serve in and how long were you there?
I served in the Operation Enduring Freedom War in Afghanistan, and I was there from October of 2012 till July of 2013.
So we're just going to talk about your early life. How old were you when you knew you wanted to join the military, if you did know?
I think I knew when I was even in elementary school. I think I knew. I didn't join until a year after I graduated high school. I was 19.
What kind of interest did you have in war history?
The history part of it. I grew up in the Hudson Valley in New York, so a lot of Revolutionary War history there. And even now I serve in the oldest militia unit in the country. You know, it's a Massachusetts unit that served in the Civil War and Revolutionary War, and so history is a great part of it.
Where did you grow up? Did you have any hobbies or sports? Like, what kind of schools did you go to?
I went to public schools. I went to the Hendrick Hudson School District, so that's a Hudson Valley school in upstate New York, about 35 miles north of New York City. So I grew up in Peekskill, New York, and my hobbies were ice hockey and outdoors things. Like I liked to run cross country. I liked hiking, climbing, camping.
So what was your reaction now that you had grown up, and what was your reaction when you found out that you were leaving and when you left home and when you got to Afghanistan?
That's interesting because I didn't have to go. My contract was almost up and I could have elected to get out. But I'm an older soldier. I got out for 18 years, and I knew that the window was closing on my chance. And when I was in the National Guard, after I got out of the Marine Corps, some paperwork got filled up, and I didn't get a chance to serve in the first Desert Storm Wars. And I felt that as a professional soldier, I wanted to go. And I knew that even though my family didn't want me to go, I had to talk to them and tell them that this was my career, that I was going to fulfill my career and do at least 20 years, and that we needed to make this decision, and I wanted their support. So my feelings, yeah, I didn't, some people are forced to go because they're in that unit, but I wasn't, and so it was a kind of a personal thing for me to make that decision.
What was your life like before you left?
It was tough. We had to get a lot of things squared away. That's kind of a military way of saying it. But in your life, you need to make sure that you know where your doctors are and where your support is. And when you transition from civilian health benefits to military health benefits, there's a little bit of a transition in what doctors you can use. We were lucky because we were already in the TRICARE system, and that's what the military uses. So now I'm in a reserve TRICARE, but when you are in active duty, you get an active duty TRICARE, which is a little bit better. But you have to make sure that things are taken care of. And we had, luckily we had a lot of community support, and things were good for my family.
So that was a fairly difficult transition.
More so for them. It's easier on the soldier. Most will tell you that their family has it much harder than they do. That people who stay home behind, who have to deal with the separation. I was always busy. I didn't have time to think about it a lot.
What were some of your biggest challenges while you were out there?
Well, I'm a medic, so my challenges are dare I say, the complications that could happen on a convoy when something blows up. So we think about that every time, and we prepare ourselves. We have what's called combat lifesavers, who aren't quite medics, but they can do some skills. So you always have to make sure they've got their combat lifesaver bags ready to go, and that they have they're prepared. We have stretchers. We have ways of communications. We have to think about rally points. If we get into a situation where there's activity, we have to think about pickup sites if we have to call in for air evacuation. And then even when you're not busy, you know, as a medic, I was kind of like a nurse. I was in charge of 36 people, and I had to take care of their daily needs as far as boo-boos and Band-Aids and things like that. And do they need to go see a doctor about their shoulder or their wrist, because we were an engineer unit, and they would use hammers and they'd hurt themselves.
Had there been any challenges, difficulties, the complications that you had mentioned?
We did not have any explosions. We were very fortunate. We were in a certain part of Afghanistan where the Taliban acted and operated, and we traveled through those roads, and we traveled a lot. One road we traveled on blew up an hour after we traveled over it, and it was a life changer, you know. Sometimes there was ambushes on bridges we would drive over. We were lucky.
Were there any times where you had to fear for your own safety?
In a way, you know, we had to dismount, and that means get out of the truck, and the truck is your safety. And there was times we had to get out and parts of the truck broke. We have these things that are called mine rollers, and they're in front of the truck about, say, 10 meters. And one day the mine rollers broke. We had to go chase them down, you know, and we had to put security out and get out of the truck and get it. And it was kind of comical when you think about it, but, you know, the very thing that's supposed to save you is causing you to be out there and, you know, in danger.
What were some of your best memories, your worst memories? You were out there for a little while.
I made some lifelong friends. You know, we were busy, and when we weren't busy, we spent a lot of time in the gym together. We would do things. You know, just going to a meal when you aren't out on patrol, sharing a meal with your brothers and sisters, because we had, our unit was an integrated unit. We had women in the unit, so when we had a chance to you know, share meals together. You know, we just celebrated Thanksgiving, so we sent some you know, on Facebook, you know, pictures of our Thanksgiving celebration. We happened to be at a base where we could celebrate, but I spent Thanksgiving and Christmas with those people, and those were great memories.
So you're still in touch with a lot of them? I
am. Even though we're not in the same units anymore, I am.
What was the craziest thing that happened while you were there?
We got, with that road that blew up, we still had to travel around that road. And whenever you leave the safety of your road that gets patrolled, because there's a patrol that goes out in the morning and searches for mines, okay? And they declare the road safe. So once you do that, that's great. But we had to go around that road. And we were on a hillside, and one of the vehicles got stuck. And these vehicles are very top heavy, so they evacuated everybody, and except for the driver and the gunner. And we had to perform security, and the sun was going down, and we were in a Taliban neighborhood. And we just had to work it out. And luckily, again, we were very fortunate.
What was running through your head throughout that experience?
Gee, I'd really like to get out of here. You know, professionally, you know, I got to know what I think about. As a medic, I think about mechanism of injury. What could go wrong here that I might need to step in and do something? But really, I said, why can't we just get on with it and get out of here?
So what were the people like while you were there? Did you get to have any involvement in the communities out there? Were they friendly, not so friendly?
I did get some interaction with local Afghanis, and that was at a place outside of Al-Masak, which is in the far reaches of Kandahar province. And we were able to, they had like a bazaar, so locals would come around just outside the gate and have their wares out. And a lot of it was, you know, Chinese junk, but a lot of it was, you know, they have certain minerals that are unique to that area, and they made them into some jewelry or trinkets and things like that. And I managed to come home with a rug that I waited for a while. I bartered for it. You know, I wasn't ready to buy it because it wasn't in good condition, but I knew it was authentic because it was just it it was an everyday Afghan rug. It wasn't something that came from somewhere else and they sold, to unsuspecting people, which they do there. And but the people were nice, and we got to know some interpreters who were local, and they were very nice.
How many times, did you get a lot of opportunity to talk to your family while you were out there? How hard was it being away from them?
Well, it was hard being away from them. We're pretty close. I think I take it for granted that, but we're really close, and so it was hard, but they have this thing, and I'll show my age, but like when I was in the Marine Corps in the 80s, we had a satellite phone where I would talk to you, and then you'd hear me, and then you'd respond, and it was not like a conversation like we're having now. Now, you can get a calling card, and you put money on it, and as long as the phone's not busy, and you're not busy, you could use it. So we were able to communicate. You could buy satellite service and do Skype, and they had regular. They call it morale, welfare, and recreation centers, where they have computers you could sign on for, and you could, do FaceTime, Skype.
So earlier you mentioned you had managed to bring home a rug. Do you have any other keepsakes from?
I have a little bit of jewelry. I have some sweaters. I have a set of Romanian uniforms I bartered for. We were with Romanians for a while, and it was nice to get to know them, and especially when you think about like our different branches of our different armies. It wasn't that long ago where they were like our quote-unquote enemies because they were Russian allies. When I first joined the Marine Corps, they were Russian allies, and now we're out there doing patrols with them.
Are there any special stories attached to those?
Well, I went to a Romanian church service, which was very difficult to understand. It was an Orthodox type thing, and it was, we kind of searched out our spirituality at times, and we sometimes like to think that the faith helps you when you're there. And some of the special times, and actually in a more easygoing church, I got to know some people from Kenya, and they worked for civilian contractors at our main base. And they had a Christian fellowship church service that was better than any Army church service we could have. Sometimes we'd get Army chaplains come out to talk to us, and it was more like they were lecturing us. And we were certainly part of the International Christian Fellowship.
Was that something that helped you through the whole experience?
If just on a friendly way. I mean, sure, I do think spiritual. We prayed before all our patrols. If you wanted to pray, you were given that opportunity. And I shared this when I got home. I said that on this patrol, because I'm the medic, I said, let your hands be my hands. If something happens, my hands be your hands be my hands. But I'm still in contact with some of those people from Kenya. I get emails and things like that. It's cool.
Where else did you get the opportunity to travel? Did you get to travel a lot?
When I was in the Marine Corps, I got a chance to go other places. As a National Guards guy, you don't get that year-round training cycle where you might go to Germany or Panama or somewhere like that. But in the Marine Corps, when you're active duty, I've been to Okinawa, I've been to the Philippines, I've been to Norway, I've been to Diego Garcia. And I could have traveled more. I wish I did travel more. I've been, Norway.
If you ever had the chance to go back now or change anything that you did while you were out there, would you?
Yeah, in a way, I would change. I would do it. I would do it with an infantry unit, or a ranger unit, or a special forces unit, or do it younger, be more involved. Even civil affairs, they go out and meet people and make a difference to people on the boots on the ground. We mostly went places and built things and didn't do things outside of the base. Only time we acted outside the base was when we were going to somewhere to build something. And then when I was at the Romanian place, some of those kids who lived outside the base, we treated some of them. I got a chance to treat them with a Romanian doctor. That was kind of fun.
What if you were in one of those forces, like, which one do you think would be your ideal, and like why?
Probably Rangers, or if I'd stayed in the Marine Corps. But the problem with staying in the Marine Corps is you can't be a medic in the Marine Corps. They use Navy corpsmen.
So you wanted to help people.
Well, I found that niche. You know, when I became a medic, I said, you know, I really like this, and I became a medic because of the Navy corpsmen. You know, when it came time to change careers, that's why.
What was it like being able to travel and go through all of these things? And
Well, you know, it's not like traveling as a civilian where you can actually see more of the local countryside and population. You know, in the military, especially in a war zone, you're restricted to what you can see and do. You know, you really are. I don't recommend it as a form of traveling. You know, it's not the best way to go to see a lot of where you're going. When I was in the Marine Corps, we spent 6 weeks in the Philippines. We had a little bit of time off. In Norway, the same thing. But in Afghanistan, I didn't see all of Afghanistan. I saw a slice of it. I couldn't tell you I know Afghanistan really well.
how did you decide, like, that you wanted to pursue a military career? What was that final, like, I want to go do this?
Well, when I got out of high school, I didn't make the most of my chances of the first year in college. I kind of I was wasting my time. I wasn't ready. So I decided to go in the Marine Corps, and that was great. But my calling was something different, and I got out, you know, and I decided that I was going to pursue this calling, that I really enjoyed it. You know, I'm not doing it anymore. I do it a little bit on the side, but I don't do it anymore. It's not a great family profession for me, but it was something that made me get out of the Marine Corps at the time.
It seems like it's all a pretty emotional experience between handling people and your coworkers, the people that you're beside every day. What were some of the most overwhelming, you know, things that you wouldn't be able to forget? Like, what were those experiences?
I'm friends with, there's like 3 of us who hung out side by side the whole time, you know, and we were there on almost every patrol, and when we went places, they relied on us to do things. You know, when I wasn't, when we were on these bases, I became not just the medic, I became the plumber too. One of my buddies was the electrician, one of my buddies was the carpenter, and we became friends, and it was great, you know. We talk still, and we follow each other's lives, and you know, at certain times of the year, we make sure we contact each other. I wouldn't say some of the things we built made us bond, but just being there together, doing it.
So as a medic, you saw a lot, but were there any injuries that you had to help heal, like, that you had to handle that were really...
No, I didn't see any trauma like that. We prepare for it. I'm probably better prepared for it now than I was then, because we continue to prepare for it. We didn't have that kind of injury, and I'm glad, you know. For me, I like this career, so I continue to train, and I don't mind seeing those things, but I wouldn't wish them on my brothers and sisters just to have that experience.
What was it like coming home for you? After you went through all of this and you formed all of these bonds and had all these crazy experiences, coming home must have been crazy.
It was weird. It was like, you're out at the tip of the spear, you're out there every day, And all of a sudden, it's like, you can go home now. And then you get to the States, and they don't let you go home. They make you stay in Texas for 30 days. And it's kind of a time to decompress, to make sure that you don't have any, you go through a lot of medical screenings, and both medical and psychological, to make sure that you're prepared to go home and you're ready to go home. And a lot of it works, and a lot of it doesn't work. A lot of people had problems anyway, you know. Just being over there affects people in different ways. You know, I feel like it was okay for me, but certainly some people did the same exact things I did, might even have been safer than I was, came home with a little bit of PTSD. And, you know, and that's not a judgment thing. It's just, we're all different. We all react to those things differently. I thought it was just kind of odd because you're coming home, and for me, I came home in July, so now it's summertime. And, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I was in, you know, in Afghanistan, and now I'm at the beach.
So returning to daily life was difficult for you. How did your family help you through that?
Actually, my family was okay with what I was doing until school started. I didn't jump back into plumbing until after the summer was over, because I wrote out my, we had some leave money, you know, saved up to enjoy the summer and go on a family vacation. And then we were kind of enjoying the summer, and then I picked up a job bartending for a couple of months. But when school started, they're like, we hadn't seen you in 9 months, and now we don't see you anymore. So you need to get back into plumbing. And so they kind of pointed me in the right direction with that, because who knows, I'd still be doing that, you know?
Yeah. Was it scary for your family to have you come home and to see you with a little bit of PTSD? Was it difficult for them?
No, I don't think I had that like some people do. You know, I think I wanted to ease into it. You know, like we have some like crazy pictures that were in the paper, even of us celebrating when we got home. But even then, I think that was, the Army kind of messed us up that way. They told us we'd be home on the 17th, which actually happened to be my son's birthday. And instead, they got us in on the 18th at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It really was kind of anticlimactic because they'd been waiting all day the day before. It was hard for them. But no, we generally were enthusiastic to be with each other and get, you know, if anything, it was hard because like my whole family wanted to share that experience, you know, extended family and immediate family, but not my wife and son. And we weren't ready to do that yet. We hadn't had any time together. We really needed to like say, you know, we need to spend some time together before we do that.
How does all of this still affect your daily life?
Well, we're still not out of the woods yet as far as deployments go. And I'm a full-timer for about 6 more years. And that's about the time I'll be eligible for retirement. And so we know, based on what is going on in our world today, that deployments are going to be part of our future. And that's kind of hard because we look at the years ahead, and they're all important years, you know, for a family who has a student in high school, you know, and that's what we're upon, you know, and that's happening next year for us. And you don't want to miss that year. So we're a little bit scared of that.
Has that in any way affected, you know, your relationship with your son? Has he looked up to you more? Has it made it easier, harder?
At times, I think he's looked up to it. You know, there was some writing thing he had to do in middle school, but it was a private thing. And he did write about me, and I got word of it, but like it's nothing we shared. You know, I'm happy he did that, but I'd rather he was proud of the whole package, not just the military part of it, because that, you know, for a soldier citizen, not a full-timer, there's more to it than just the military part of it. You know, there's also, you know, going to work every day so that, you know, he can play football and things like that. You know, just have the opportunity, you know, I've had my opportunity, you know, and, you know, hopefully, you know, that he's proud of other things, not just the Army.
If you could go back and do this whole thing over again, or even if you didn't do it over again, if you went back at all, what past experiences would you use to help you better that whole experience?
I might have stayed in when instead of getting out to pursue cooking, I may have stayed in the Marine Corps. And as difficult as that may have been, I mean, part of the reason I got out was because I've seen what the Marine Corps did to family life to people. You know, half the people I knew in the Marine Corps were divorced. And I knew that was a hard way to go. you know, and it still is. It hasn't changed at all. But I also believe in destiny, and that, you know, you're going to meet, if you're going to meet that person and fall in love and get married and have children, you're going to do that anyway. You know, I don't think it matters whether you're, you know, a plumber or a waiter or a cook or a soldier, Marine. You know, it's going to happen. So I don't believe that we wouldn't have had this family if I stayed in the Marine Corps. It just, I found that I missed it when I got out, and I probably shouldn't have gotten out.
Does any of the things that you saw, like, does any of it ever scare you, the way that it affected people's family lives and their personal lives? Does any of it ever come back and sort of frighten you every once in a while now that you're home?
No. I will tell you, driving through Kandahar City at night the first time was extremely exhilarating. You know, you were like, wow, this is crazy. These people are absolutely nuts on the road, and you never know what's going to happen. And you can see how dangerous this is because you can't see that far away from anything, and the danger's around any corner. But, you know, I didn't see that horrific blast that some people, I mean, I don't know if you've seen them on TV or on YouTube, but the videos are, I mean, when a vehicle gets blown up, it's horrific. And I am so grateful that that didn't happen to anybody I know. I wouldn't mind being there for them, but it's a life changer. If you get blown up, it's a life changer.
Has any of it, anything that you saw, obviously you said you didn't see any combat, but has this experience changed the way that you see current events? Do you look at the stuff going on out where it is bad, it still is bad in the Middle East? Do you ever get to see that and sort of step back and think about you were there?
Well, yeah, I grew up kind of liberal, you know, and I think I've become a little bit more conservative to what I see in the world. You know, maybe not, you know, in a personal way here, but like, I'm not as tolerant of people having the right to defend themselves that way. You know, I know it's a form of guerrilla warfare, and I know it's probably the best way for them to do it. You know, who would fight a country like America conventionally anyway? But I don't approve of it. You know, it makes me want to. I'm not happy about it. I don't like seeing people. I'm a concert goer. I could have been at that concert in Paris. You know, that's easily. You know, I would hate to think that that would happen to anybody I know.
So it's definitely changed you as a person.
I think even current events are changing me as a person. That the way that I've been home since ISIS has become more active, and it's just really disheartening sometimes to see people, their way of life being challenged. The ability to go out and pursue happiness. You know, I think that's what separates our country from other countries, and is that we have that inherent. It's in writing to pursue happiness. You know, it's not implied. It's right there.
What advice would you give to anybody considering pursuing a military career?
I wouldn't do it just to. I was fortunate, you know. I found maybe a dormant niche that was there. You know, maybe I should have gone there right out of high school, but it's not for everybody. There's a lot of great opportunity. The technological part of it now is so much greater, you know, that you could learn a job. You don't need to just carry a weapon, even though you're going to carry a weapon anyway. But, you know, your job, your career, there's a lot of good stuff. But, you know, I would hope that, you know, I would like to counsel people. I don't think the best people to talk to about joining the military are recruiters. You know, if you wanted to find out whether the military is for you, ask me, because I'll tell you straight up whether it's the recruiter's telling you the truth or not, because it's not for everybody, you know. And, you know, I don't know if our country is doing justice to young people that the people they have filling those quotas are recruiters and not people who actually care about their overall careers.
How would you react if your son ever told you that he would want to follow in your footsteps?
Well, when I came back from the last school I went to, I said, you know, if you join the Army or the Marine Corps before talking to me, You know, don't do it. You know, there's other options out there, and I know that I didn't do that, and I know that I broke my mother's heart when I joined the Marine Corps. You know, and I didn't realize that, you know, until I left for boot camp. You know, especially what the Marine Corps was and is. You know, it's different than joining the Navy or the Coast Guard. And I met a young man over Thanksgiving weekend, and he was sitting next to his mother and telling me he was going to join the Marine Corps. I said, "Do you know what that means to your mother?" You know, I mean, like, really, you know, because it's not easy. You know, it's a hard way of life, and you're gonna be deployed. And you know, when I went to boot camp in 1983. You know, I didn't have to go, you know, fight a war for the Marines. You know, for 4 years. It's changed now. You know, in the last, I want to say 14 years, if you were in the Marine Corps, you would have been deployed at least twice in a 4-year span. You know, and certain active duty armies are like that too. And some National Guard units have deployed multiple times in that time frame. And that had never happened in our history before.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Looking back, would you ever change how you approached the situation regarding, you know, explaining to your mom what you were doing?
No, they wouldn't have. I had to do it that way. You know, and it worked out all right. You know, I've been very fortunate. You know, I've had some good experiences and some good leadership along the way that's pointed me in the right direction. And now I get the chance to return the favor. I'm in a leadership position where I'm at, and it's kind of nice.
Do you ever plan on putting yourself out there again, or are you?
I
Is that
think
where you
I'll
are?
go again before I retire. I'm almost positive.
Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this for us. It was great speaking with you and learning about your experiences.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we hit time.